Let's continue our trend of diving into Trump's cabinet picks, this time into Mehmet Oz, who will be overseeing Medicare and Medicaid, which provides coverage to 155 million Americans, spending over $1 trillion a year. Now, is he experienced and qualified, someone we would want in this position? No, but for MAGA, he's not black at least, so they can't say he's a DEI, so of course they love him. I mean, Trump picked him, he supports him, he's anti-vax, where could he go wrong? So let's see what he's all about.
In which he mixed sort of normal health advice with other stuff. For example, the miracle of red palm oil, which he calls, quote, a revolutionary new way to live years longer. He says, quote, its red color is perfect because I think of it as a stop sign for aging. Dr. Oz suggested to his viewers that red palm oil can protect you from Alzheimer's. He also has promoted raspberry ketones. He calls them, quote, the #1 miracle in a bottle to burn your fat. Also, green coffee beans. Quote, you may think that magic is make-believe, but this little bean has scientists saying they have found a magic weight loss cure for every body type. This miracle pill can burn fat fast.
So yeah, he's a kook, and for those who hadn't seen his show before, he's essentially a snake oil salesman, but for healthcare products, which is the slimiest of the slimy, on top of those 3 total scams that I just showed he tried to sell to vulnerable, desperate people looking for health solutions. He would bring on like psychics stating they can help you talk to the dead. He would say that red onions cure cancer. He stated that zodiac signs affect your health and you would need, different health treatments for the same diseases depending on your zodiac, that you can get breast cancer from having your phone on your chest. I mean, all kinds of insane, conspiratorial, easily debunked stuff. But this is how Trump likes to build out his health department. I mean, between RFK Jr. and now this guy, he has to appease the conspiracy theory wing of his base. Like pretty soon we'll be wearing like tinfoil hats and be doing lobotomies again. But you have to think of what this means and who it affects to realize how scary it is. Again, 155 million Americans covered under this agency, but not only that, it's of course the older population. It's our grandparents. It's the more vulnerable population who, even more so than anybody else, needs sound medical advice and consistent, reliable treatments, not someone who's going to approve red onions for their cancer treatment because it's cheaper than chemo and, we got to save money for those tax cuts.
In 2015, a group of prominent doctors got together and made an appeal to the medical school with which Oz was affiliated. They called on the medical school basically to fire Dr. Oz for endangering the public. They said, quote, Dr. Oz has manifested an egregious lack of integrity by promoting quack treatments and cures in the interest of personal financial gain, and has repeatedly shown disdain for science and for evidence-based medicine. Now, Dr. Oz did not respond directly to those charges in the letter, or to the lead author of the letter, calling him, quote, a quack and a fake and a charlatan. But he did say through a spokesman, quote, I bring the public information that will help them on their path to be their best selves. Nevertheless, the medical school, the hospital he was affiliated with, without spelling out exactly why, they did ultimately cut ties with Dr. Oz a few years later.
And he goes well into MAGA's fight against intellectualism, where they want someone who won't trust the science, however stupid that is when it comes to medicine. They want someone who will go against fact-based research and instead will indulge in conspiracies, kind of, if the money's right for him to do so. You know what I'm saying? And these weird alternative fringe treatments, which again is sad because it is a lie being sold to people by those who just want to privatize medicine so they can make money off sham elixirs, essentially, right? Anti-vax is a conspiracy that was started by a doctor who wanted to sell his own vaccine. I mean, that alone should give it away to how nonsensical this position is, where, again, most of these medical advances are made in the public sector, and these people just want a piece of that pie, but they don't care how much it actually hinders progress in terms of the medicine, because in the public sector, what is prioritized is the outcomes of the medicine, right? Is putting out good medicines. In the private sector, what's going to be prioritized is profitability, just like in every other field, in housing and in anything, food, any literally field. If we want to do that to medicine too, then I mean, good luck affording your cancer treatments. Which kind of medicine would you want to be taking with your life on the line? The medicine with the best outcomes or the medicine that makes the most profit? Which is exactly why we want people in these roles who know, understand, and will follow the science, not their own financial interests, like Mehmet Oz has shown a clear willingness to do time and time again.
Dr. Oz does take a very brief moment to mention that if you do have any kind of pre-existing thyroid condition, maybe check with your doctor before starting any kind of new regimen, and that, of course, is a good thing. It's a particularly good thing in this case, considering that entities like the Cleveland Clinic, they don't say that ashwagandha is going to balance your thyroid hormones. What they say is, for some pre-existing thyroid issues, taking this supplement can actually make it worse. He's also promoted supplements from this company that he says, quote, probably slowed down his mom's Alzheimer's. He's repeatedly hyped weight loss drugs and then marketed the same company's supposed cures for the side effects from those weight loss drugs. There's also been a complaint against him filed with the FTC that alleges that he hasn't been disclosing his financial ties to this company when he has been shilling for all their stuff, which he has continued to do even after Trump named him to be the head of the US government's trillion-dollar health agency. Because, yeah.
So this exact thing we're talking about, being susceptible to not only ignoring science, but boosting up cures with no science behind them, if the money is right, is something he's done multiple times over and has continued to do even since Trump has selected him for this position. Yet this is who we're supposed to be cheering on, that'll be controlling the health plans for our grandparents. I'm supposed to feel secure in this guy looking over my grandma's health treatments. 155 million Americans, the ultra rich guy who takes money from weird, shady health corporations with no science behind them to promote what are essentially scams, is definitely representative of Trump draining the swamp also. I mean, I wonder why so many doctors have came out against Mehmet Oz even before this nomination. So it's nothing to be tied with Trump. This is a long-standing thing where, hey, his own medical school came out and said, no, we're cutting ties with this. Like, we do not back this guy and what he's stating. But, you know, he's not going to be a deep state elite. So let's let him do his little conspiracy theories. Like, the list of controversies and scams that involve this dude are insane. He used to bring on a guy that he claimed was a medical professional who would claim that vaccines gave you AIDS. In all seriousness, like, this was the claim, but then which is peculiar in its own, but then you find out this guy's only experience isn't medical, it's a business degree from a school that was owned by a yoga influencer, right? He pitches things as cures that clinics, doctors, medical organizations come out and say, no, these aren't cures. They're actually dangerous if you take these. So you probably shouldn't if you're in this situation. I mean, just appointing someone like this should be utterly disqualifying. There's a reason that nobody can name anyone who's ever been in this role before, because it's people who are actually qualified, not people who just like are famous and have like controversial takes. It takes a lot. This is one of the hardest roles, one of the roles that take the most policy chops. And we're going to appoint the talk show scam guy. Just think, if Biden appointed someone like this, but they were black, MAGA would be having a field day. But because he's like anti-vax, white, and, you know, supports Trump, they'll never look anything up about this guy. They'll just choose to blindly support him as the default because, hey, you know, at least it's owning the libs by giving our grandparents worse healthcare treatments. Am I right?